Hey there, McAllister with Toasty DIY, and today we're comparing two cameras, the Lumix G7 versus the Canon EOS R10. So the one I'm currently recording with is the Lumix G7, and I'm really only interested in the actual camera quality and whatnot, so all the recording is happening via the DJI mics that we have. Now we've had this Lumix G7 for a while since it's been brand new, and so we're gonna just be comparing them side by side, doing some B-roll with them both, doing some just basic shots. I might even bring in Jackson, Matt, Zach, somebody to look at the shots and compare what they think looks better for the price point. Because looking at today's value, the Lumix G7 would be cheaper to buy than the EOS R10, but the EOS R10 is kind of I guess a weird feel to it. The G7 definitely feels more professional, but we're gonna get some camera shots and see what that actually ends up being. So let's go over the basic functions of each one, and then we can compare that. So starting off with the EOS R10, it does start with just a basic kit lens, which is going to have a basic zoom. It's kind of cool. I like how it pops out. So it won't be able to film until it locks into this position. The changing out of the lens is super easy. Just snaps on, snaps off. This is the look of our sensor right there. I will include right here whether it's full frame or not. I can't remember off the top of my head. But looks really nice, does a little cleaning every time it ends. If you're not camera inclined, you would look at these two and probably not have to spot the difference up front looking at the body shape. It still has that good handhold. I personally like the one right here a little bit more. This is a more plasticky one, but I've grown used to it. Now I kind of appreciate that really lightweight feel. Makes it super easy for my little zooms, even though there is a good amount of weight on the Lumix that can help keep a steady hand. But this one's digital stabilization I really enjoy. Let's get in and look at the menu real quick and just see what that looks like. So the menu is super sleek and easy to get into. Looks just like this, but it's fun to just run through this and see some basic things. But the ones that I thought were important, this can connect straight to a phone through an app, and then you could send photos back and forth. You can also use the app to be a remote shutter. You can change this shooting size and different things. This one's capable of 4K 30 FPS or 29.97. It also has the option of a high frame rate mode right there, allowing for 1920 by 1080 at 119 FPS, so almost 120, but it will not allow audio for that. So that's really good if you want to do some B-roll and you want to have some steady hands. You go ahead and shoot it at 120 and then relay it and re-show it at 60. That'll be at half speed and it'll look really smooth. Overall though, with this, overall, as far as the menus go on the EOS R10, I currently like them more than on the Lumix. I was able to understand a lot quicker. Moving the knob here on the top, it actually told me what's going on the R10, but it will not on the Lumix. You have to kind of know what your settings are. This one's just a lot more, I think, beginner friendly than the Lumix. It has a lot more in depth. If you want to know what a setting is, you can click it and then it'll tell you more about it. I just think it's more approachable overall. So now let's go ahead and compare that to the Lumix menus. What I'm going to do now is swap cameras. I'm going to record on the Canon and then we can look at the Lumix. All right, so I'm now recording on the Canon R10. Just so you know, set the same frame rate. We're at 60 FPS with an ISO of 800 and the same f-stop of 5. And I have the autofocus on as well. So I don't know how you're looking right now. I've not really done too much recording with this one. Hope I'm looking good. If not, we'll go through and I'll adjust the settings and get a shot later of the same spot and lighting setup. But I have done nothing except for exchange cameras. So now let's look at the Lumix real quick. This one is going to be, once again, the kit lens that came with it. You see from the up front angle, you probably would still think these are the same camera. But let's go ahead and dive into the menus. So first thing I'll note is on this one, when you're adjusting the ISO right here, it does have a touch screen, but you can only pick between sets. You can't get kind of middle. I can't get like an 820 ISO or anything between. I have to go directed to these full numbers. Well, on that one, when I want to adjust ISO, I can slowly change my gradient. The histogram on here I do like, has the ability to actually be yellow whenever it knows it's reading something that's too, bright or too low. However, you have zebras for that if you want to turn them on. Weird thing that the Canon EOS R10 does is it shuts down like a battery saving mode, like a power saver on a computer. Whenever I leave it alone, I come back and it's turned off. If I left it alone for like 5 minutes, it's off. So kind of weird thing. I say 5 minutes, but I think I've got it in like 1 minute windows having done that to me before if I don't touch anything. I don't know why. I hope it's not a fault of the camera, but if there's a sleep setting I haven't adjusted, it's not adjusted. If it is unadjustable, then that's just weird. I don't really care for that because when I'm trying to do like opening and unboxing setups, it really kind of annoys me when I'm trying to get the box in the right spot and I have to turn off and on the camera, off and on the camera over and over again just to get it to work. Having it on that setup, when we have it on this one over here to unbox, the EOS R10 allows us to record and have it digitally displayed to like a monitor, so that way I can see where I'm moving to make it easier, because it is sitting like right up here and looking off this tiny little screen while in that section can get kind of difficult. So I'd like to have it connected to a monitor. Meanwhile, the Lumix, the moment that you start recording, it shuts off that external monitor, which kind of ruins the point in my opinion, because why would I want to just see what I'm looking at on a bigger screen at that moment unless I'm recording? To get it lined up, it's nice, but it made it useless for us in that matter. So now I can actually go to the menus here, things here. So this is still a touch screen, but your menu looks more like this, which I'm not as huge a fan of this kind of look of the menu. It's definitely an older looking one, but it's very clean and easy. We've got just a page, go through your documents that way, see what things going on, systems. Pretty much the same settings. We still have things under the motion picture where I can go down and adjust, like I can adjust like wind cutoff, things like that. I can turn on zebras on and off. I do like the menus more on the Canon. Like I said, I find them more user-friendly, as well as it's a newer software, so of course I'm gonna enjoy that more. It's gonna look a bit cleaner. They're gonna have learned from past designs. While this is an older computer by comparison, both of them have the ability to do some Wi-Fi transferring. You see this one right here has it set up as well. Like I said, for that one, you can do it straight to a phone. This one, you can do some stuff via Wi-Fi or via smartphone. And the end, I think I showed you the kit lens coming off on that one. Snaps off just as easy. There's your sensor. Looks nice and clean. Snap that back on. The kit lens as well here, just a zooming. I kind of like the look of the Canon one just for the fun of that little snap you get when it comes out. Feels professional, feels fun. So what I'm gonna do now is do some comparisons between these two. I'm gonna take the same ISO, the same aperture, the same f-stop, things like that, and I'm gonna film the same shot, same settings, just to see what we think looks better on this set over here. I'm probably gonna do either a keyboard or something like that. So take a look, see what you think of it. We're gonna compare them after. I might even show it to Jackson and them and have them look and see if they can tell which one's the more expensive camera, and we'll see what ends up doing better. So thank you all for sticking with me this far. Let's go ahead and roll into the side-by-sides. Camera A ended up being the Lumix G7, while camera B ended up being the EOS R10. Matt preferred the Lumix G7, which kind of worked out because he really liked that camera. He messed around with it a lot, and he set up the color profile on it, so you'll notice that one's a little bit more flat. That's by design. While the EOS R10 is already set up with a nice fuller color profile. You'll notice it's going to be darker blacks, whiter whites, more purplish tint to it, especially when we're back there with the purple lights. It really grabs more of that. Overall, if I was to look at them and recommend something, I would say that the Lumix G7 is probably what you should go with, considering that the Canon is more expensive. Looking at secondhand shopping, you can buy on eBay the Canon EOS R10 for $730, but if you're not already proficient with cameras, this camera won't make you look proficient. I think your money would be better spent buying the Lumix G7 and then buying yourself a nice lens. I think that would be a better use of $700 than buying the Canon. Unless you're already proficient in those settings, if you read that it has, a aps-c sensor and that, makes you excited and you understand what that means, then I think you should go for that, because the ability to adjust to more specific ISOs is really nice. It's 100 to 32,000 instead of being 160, 200, 400, 800, 1600, and so on. So in the end, I think it was kind of more preferred the Lumix for the price value and everything. So take that as you will, and thank you all for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and appreciate you. Thanks.